So y'all got to check out this story that was sent to me by one of my viewers. It's wild. It's about a son who discovers something disturbing about his parents. I think y'all gonna get a kick out of this one. Now, I only read like the first 3 paragraphs because I realized real quickly that this is gonna make for some good content. But it's gonna be a little struggle for me to read this because this mother here that wrote this, yeah, I don't think she went to school or she didn't stay in there long enough. And you'll see what I mean. So it starts with, so my son, 15 years old, found that me, 43, and my husband, 45, are into cuckolding. I ain't never heard this term before in my life. Y'all about to learn with me if you didn't already know. And she continues, she says, I sleep with other men as my husband watch. 6 months after finding out, he still refuses to speak to us. And his utter disgust when he looks at me, I assume he Googled what cuckolding is killing me. So this woman is sleeping with other men and her husband watches. If I remember correctly, I think there's a podcast episode that we covered over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where a dude was into the same sort of thing, him and his woman.
So I choose to allow my girlfriend to sleep with other men. That doesn't give you the right to call me a cuck. And this is a message for all the people out there using that hateful language. Why don't you try going a day in my shoes, where you are with someone you love very much and you want them to be able to express themselves physically and spiritually in a way that perhaps they can't do with just you. Now, personally, I would never sleep with another woman. I love my girlfriend very much, but I know that her needs require her to have the right to explore that territory. And if it means I have to sleep on the sofa a few days a week, then, so be it. Ultimately, our relationship means more to me than, my ego or my jealousy. So think about what you're saying.
So it continues. He found out because I got careless. I'm not very tech savvy and stupidly asked him to fix something on my computer. And he found some pictures. And at first, he did not say anything. He just got very quiet. Still does his homework, never late for school or acted out in any way. But then after being given the silent treatment for almost a month, I sat him down and asked him what was wrong. And he exploded at me, calling me every name in the book. All right, I stopped reading right there. If dad is not good enough, then divorce him, he yelled at me. His father tried to talk to him, but just keeps telling him to divorce me. Oh man, poor kid. Poor kid. He doesn't realize that this is just a kink for them. This is something that they actually both enjoy. Who's to say that the father isn't good enough? This woman maybe just like some extra stuff on the side. Hell, there's a whole genre of this on the hub, if you know what I'm talking about, where I'm assuming this is a Caucasian couple and maybe she like black men. And like I said, there's a whole genre of those type of couples who hire black men to lay down with their wives, and the men will sit there and record. They might interact. They get off to it. They get off to it. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. She continues, he's never acted out like that before, and he is a good kid, and we obviously have stopped since he found out. One of the men involved, he knows, oh snap, it's getting messy. And he has been like an uncle to him. Now this is getting weird. Okay. I had to inform him that he found out what has been happening. My son now hates him as well, and it's caused so much harm. This is what I'm talking about. The way she be wording stuff, her words don't be going together right. What do you mean it caused so much harm? Physical harm? Like, that doesn't really make sense to me. She don't use the proper punctuation. It's just getting to me. Anyway, so she continues. He is always quiet, now refuses to have dinner with us. My husband said either eat with us or go hungry. But then he just went to his room without dinner and refused to eat at all. Now my husband and I backtracked after he only ate at school for a week and let him eat along eventually. Oh, dang. Dang, this boy is only eating at school. Yo, he is so upset. This goes against everything that he knows and understands to be true and real about monogamous relationships. He's like, what are my parents up to? You got to think, for a boy this age, right? As you're going through puberty, your body's changing, your hormones, your mind is thinking up all kinds of stuff. You don't really know what to make of all of it. So your idea about a female, you would get so attached to that idea. You know what I'm saying? You would get so attached to the idea of you being with the female, and you couldn't imagine anybody else receiving her in the way that you want to, if you know what I mean. So he's dealing with that and then discovering what his parents are up to. Oh man. Woo. Wow. This got to be really tough on him, because also in the back of his mind, he's probably been programmed just like how I was growing up, thinking that all men are bad, all men cheat, and women are just innocent and they only want to be with one person. He's finding out firsthand that that was a lie. And she continues, maybe he needs to talk to somebody, but he hardly said more than maybe 4 sentences to us these last months. All right, y'all. So it starts back down here. She says, he is way more angry at me than his father. At least he responds to his father. Me, he is ignoring completely. We tried putting the hammer down and even stupidly found the advice of another couple we know who said, just tell him it's none of his business. It's true. It ain't none of his business, but at the same time, he making it his business. Even though it's none of his business, doesn't mean that he doesn't have the right to be upset about the news that he has discovered. Now you got to think, this teenage boy dealing with his own reality now has to go through life thinking about the fact that here's this other option, and he is probably going to be petrified if he finds out that his girl is going to want to do something like this in the future. They stupidly took the advice of another couple, telling them to tell him that it is none of his business. And when we did, that only pushed him further away from us and only made things even worse. He completely shut down. He has zero respect for me and keeps telling his father that I am a bad person who enjoys humiliating and that he should divorce me. I feel so horrible and my son hates me. Hey. Listen, there might be some couples watching this right now that partake in these same sort of activities, cuckolding. Yeah, that's what it's called. Make sure your kids don't find out. You don't want this to happen. Or if you know your kids well enough, then you might need to go ahead and have that conversation with them soon. Nah, I don't know. This ain't none of their business. Look, y'all tell me, what would y'all do in this situation? If this is something that you would partake in, what would you do if your child found out? Or what would you do to try to keep this information away from your child? Leave that comment down below, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. See ya.